You won't believe what's erupting right now in the world of love and hip-hop Atlanta. What started as whispers in the streets has spiraled into full-blown chaos, pulling the spotlight onto Kirk Frost and Rasheeda Frost like never before. Rumors of betrayal, shocking confrontations, and even talk of Sood's mysterious alleged death have the entire Atlanta hip-hop community on edge. Blogs are buzzing, Twitter threads are endless, and fans are dissecting every word, every photo, every emoji that the Frost family posts. It all began on what should have been a quiet night in Atlanta. The city lights flickered, cars rolled through the streets, and the air felt ordinary. But behind the walls of Kirk and Rasheeda's home, tension was building like a storm no one was prepared for. Friends and relatives had gathered for what was supposed to be a casual evening, some food, some drinks, a little laughter to break the week's stress. Yet instead of warmth, the air felt heavy. Every glance carried unspoken accusations. Every pause in conversation hinted at secrets buried too deep to ignore. The rumors about Sood's death had already begun spreading like wildfire. No one outside the family had real answers, but people talked like they did. Some swore it was just a tragic accident. Others whispered about betrayal, about someone inside the circle having a hand in the chaos. And then came the most dangerous twist of all: tapes. Alleged recordings of private conversations, heated arguments, and emotional breakdowns that no one outside those walls was ever meant to hear. When word of those tapes hit the streets, everything changed. What had been gossip turned into a storm. Social media became the courtroom, fans acting like detectives, bloggers acting like judges, and strangers online piecing together timelines as if they knew the Frosts personally. For Kirk and Rasheeda, there was no escape. Their home, once their safe space, now felt like a stage where every sigh, every tear, every whispered word could be twisted into content for the outside world. Inside, emotions ran high. Kirk, pacing the living room with a furrowed brow, tried to keep calm, his voice low but firm. He told his family not to give in to the chaos, not to let speculation tear them apart. But his own eyes betrayed the fear he was carrying. Rasheeda, moving from room to room, whispered words of comfort to her children and close friends. She wanted to believe that unity could hold them together, but every new alert on her phone made her heart sink further. "People are twisting everything we do," she muttered, her voice a mix of anger and sadness. That pain, the pain of being misunderstood, of being attacked when you're already hurting, cut deep. The atmosphere inside that house was electric, charged with dread. Friends who came to support found themselves walking on eggshells. Should they speak up? Should they stay quiet? Every opinion felt like a spark that could ignite the whole room. At one point, a raised voice cut through the murmurs. "Why are we letting this get so out of control?" The words were simple, but the challenge was sharp. Everyone froze, realizing that whatever they said next could change the course of the night. Meanwhile, outside Atlanta was buzzing. Phones buzzed with notifications, group chats lit up, and hashtags trended. Hashtag JusticeForthood. Hashtag Frost Family Secrets. Hashtag Hulikta Tapes. Each one carried its own narrative, its own theory. Some fans demanded answers. Others accused Kirk or Rasheeda outright. And then there were those who defended them, saying the world had no right to invade a family's private grief. But in this age, privacy is a myth. The alleged tapes became the centerpiece of the storm. In hushed corners of the Frost house, relatives whispered about what they'd heard. A cousin, clutching her phone, replayed a clip, her voice trembling. "Did you hear that? That changes everything." Some nodded in agreement. Others shook their heads, refusing to believe. The truth no longer mattered, only perception did. Social media only made it worse. Blurry screenshots, muffled audio clips, and half-baked theories spread like wildfire. Fans pieced together fragments, creating elaborate stories that felt more like TV scripts than real life. And yet, because this was love and hip-hop, people believed it. For years, the cast had blurred the lines between reality and entertainment, and now that blur was working against them. Inside, the pressure mounted. Kirk, trying to assert control, stepped between two feuding relatives whose voices had risen to shouts. "Enough," he said sharply. His words carried authority, but also exhaustion. "We are not going to let speculation destroy us." Beside him, Rasheeda added softly, "We need to protect each other, not tear each other apart." But even her calm voice couldn't dissolve the tension. The distrust ran too deep. As the hours dragged on, emotions swung like a pendulum. One moment, silence so thick you could hear the hum of the refrigerator. The next, explosive arguments over what someone really meant in one of the alleged clips. A cousin stormed out of the room, slamming the door. Another broke down in tears, overwhelmed by the weight of it all. Even the children sensed it. Their tentative footsteps and lowered voices proof that the storm had seeped into every corner of the home. And then, as if the night hadn't already been heavy enough, a phone call came. A voice on the other end delivered a new piece of alleged information, something so shocking that it threatened to rewrite the entire narrative. Kirk and Rasheeda exchanged worried glances as they listened. Whatever was said on that call made the room feel even colder, heavier. The family gathered again, each person desperate to piece together the puzzle. But every new piece only complicated the picture. One younger relative whispered, "Why can't anything just be simple?" Her words echoed what everyone felt: exhaustion, confusion, fear, and above it all, the realization that nothing about this was simple, and nothing would ever be the same again. The sun rose over Atlanta. But for Kirk and Rasheeda, daylight didn't bring peace. If anything, it only deepened the chaos. What had been whispers in the dark was now splashed across every timeline, every blogged page. Fans woke up to new posts, new hashtags, new claims. The alleged tapes were no longer just a rumor, they had become the heartbeat of an online frenzy. Inside the Frost home, the family moved like shadows. Every word was measured, every look heavy with caution. The younger relatives, who had once laughed freely, now whispered in corners, their wide eyes betraying the fear they couldn't put into words. Adults argued in clipped tones, voices cracking under the weight of what they believed or refused to believe. For Rasheeda, the hardest part wasn't the noise outside. It was watching her children absorb the storm. She sat them down quietly, holding their hands, her voice trembling as she reassured them that they were safe, that family came first, that no matter what people said, love would keep them strong. But even as she spoke, her phone buzzed non-stop notifications, headlines, messages, and each buzz chipped away at her own composure. Kirk tried to build a wall around them, but cracks showed with every passing hour. He called a private meeting with his closest relatives. His voice low, but firm, he told them, "Whatever is being said out there, real or rumor, we control what's in here. We don't let the world decide who we are." He paced the room, jaw tight, eyes burning with determination. But everyone knew, even Kirk couldn't fully contain the damage. That morning, social media exploded with new theories. Some claimed the tapes proved a betrayal within the Frost family itself. Others said the clips were doctored, planted by enemies who wanted to see Kirk and Rasheeda fall. Fans split into camps, arguing like prosecutors and defenders in an online trial. On TikTok, edits surfaced, pairing the leaked audio with dramatic captions. On Twitter, hashtags trended by the hour. Hashtag Frost Family Secrets. Hashtag Justice Fordhood. Who leaked the tapes. It wasn't just fans. Former cast members chimed in, dropping cryptic posts that fanned the flames. One wrote, "When the truth comes out, don't say we didn't warn you." Another posted a broken heart emoji with the words, "Loyalty ain't what it used to be." Each vague comment was dissected, screen captured, and spun into 100 theories. Meanwhile, the Frost home became a battlefield of emotion. One cousin broke down crying, saying she couldn't bear the weight of the accusations. Another snapped back that ignoring the rumors would only make them worse. Voices rose, hands waved, and the tension reached a boiling point until Kirk physically stepped between them. His voice sharp but controlled. "This family doesn't destroy itself. Not now." But the truth was harder to contain than any words. Later that afternoon, an unexpected visitor arrived, a longtime friend of the family. Eyes darting nervously, he pulled Kirk aside and slid a phone across the table. "You need to see this," he whispered. On the screen was another snippet of the alleged recordings, one that hadn't yet gone public. The clip was short, muffled, but explosive, and it hinted at something darker, something that went beyond misunderstandings or arguments. When Rasheeda heard it, her face fell. She turned away, pressing her hands against her mouth as tears threatened to fall. "We can't let this get out," she whispered. But everyone in the room knew if one person outside had this, then others would soon follow. The weight of it all crushed the atmosphere. Children retreated to their rooms. Adults sat in corners, murmuring in disbelief. Phones buzzed endlessly, with alerts from fans, bloggers, and even journalists demanding comments. By evening, the Frost home no longer felt like a home. It felt like a fortress under siege. And then came the moment that broke the last thread of calm. A heated argument erupted between two cousins over whether to publicly deny the tapes. One shouted, "We have to fight back. We can't let them run this story unchecked." The other snapped, "And what if it's true? What then?" The room froze. The silence afterward was more painful than the yelling. Kirk slammed his hand on the table, his voice thunderous. "Enough. This isn't about proving anything to outsiders. This is about surviving as a family." His words carried strength, but his eyes betrayed exhaustion. He knew the battle wasn't just with outsiders, it was within these walls. Outside, the storm only grew louder. Blogs posted headlines like, "Are the Frosts hiding the truth?" Leaked audio suggests explosive family betrayal. Who really knew about Thude's death? Each article added new fuel. Each video essay analyzed the Frosts like case studies. Every fan became an investigator. And every theory, no matter how wild, found an audience ready to believe.